just checked this book out at my local library. Let's look at it. Starts off by saying he is he. You know, he is not she. He is not we. He is he. He is a son, he a brother, he a father, not a mother. He's an uncle, he's a grampy, he's a buddy, not a granny. He's a he, definitely. Biologically, he is a he. He is a leader, he's a mentor.
It's sad that we've come to the place in life to where this is what we have to do. We have to protect kids to the degree that we have to write books to tell them that, hey, you're not a she. As a boy, you're not a girl. As a girl, you're not a boy. Not because they don't need to be taught, because children do need to be taught. They have questions. They are curious. But because adults and evil agendas are out to confuse them, to make them wayward towards God, confuse them in terms of their identity that they live out in this world. And I'm not trying to get into the weeds of it to where, to where people try to say, well, as a boy, you got to play sports. I'm not even talking about that. And as a girl, you have to love the color pink, because that doesn't necessarily make you a girl, and playing sports doesn't make you a boy. I'm talking about the intentional wickedness towards children in their most vulnerable and just their most vulnerable state as children, when they're being nurtured, when they're easily influenced. You have these wicked agendas, this wicked indoctrination to try to confuse them. I was just telling somebody the other day about how they was having story times, how drags, they call them drag queens, they were coming in and reading to kids at libraries. And I'm like, why do men want to dress like women and go and read to kids under the age of 5? Like, why? I've never understood it. It doesn't make sense. And because evil doesn't make sense all the time. Like, you don't question whether evil makes sense or not, because it's evil. And to want to confuse young boys and young girls about their identity is a result of being a child of the devil. I'm gonna be very clear about that, And now these are the type of books you have to make sure children are exposed to. Like for this particular book, make sure boys understand, like, hey, you are a he, you're not a we, you're not a she, you're not a mother, you're not a grandmother. You are, all of what men are supposed to be: sons, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, fathers, things of that nature, boys. So it's just, the world we live in is it can be scary at times, but I thank God for authors like this author who wrote this book that said, hey, I'm going to push back against the evil culture at hand that's looking to form these weapons against our children, against the next generation that want to hinder God's plan for their life and for their generation, and push back against it and make intentional efforts, no matter how other people perceive it, no matter what they try to say about me, or these endeavors to push back. You just they're doing it, being intentional, because I don't care how much you just sit around and pray. Kids still need to be taught. I don't care how much you just take kids to church. They still need to be taught. They need to be protected. They need to be educated on who God designed them to be, and to be protected from evil, and taught how to push back against this stuff. But let's read the rest of this book together.
He is world-changing inventor. He's a pastor. He's a trailblazer. He's a courageous lifesaver. He is free. To be who God meant him.
That part, to be God, to be who God meant him to be. That's what I'm talking about.
To be. The end. Look at this. What does God say about him being him?
Yeah, let's get into what the words say. Just a few scriptures that come to mind. The Bible says, I formed you in your mother's womb. I knew who you would be. You know, that's what he told the prophet Jeremiah. God, when a boy was in the mother's womb, he was born to be a boy. When a girl was in the mother's womb, she was born to be a girl. The Bible says in Psalms, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Like God worked you as a masterpiece. He took his time. He designed you to be who he called you to be. This isn't to say that we don't wrestle with identity. This isn't to say that sometimes it's a struggle or we experience things in life that are traumatic that brings about confusion. But it is to say God brings that clarity, understanding God's purpose and his intent and his design for humankind. All of that brings clarity and purpose to our lives. And he is he and she is she. I'm all for it. But I also think we have to be very careful as we journey to do God's work, that we don't become, we don't become the opposite of our intentionality, to where we're saying we're doing good, but it's ended up being bad because we're being nasty in how we go about it. Because there's sometimes people find themselves on a journey of confusion before we meet them, before they are able to be fully aware. And we have to be careful about how we witness to them, how we talk to them, and we have to be thoughtful. I'm not saying that we suppress the truth. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that we just have to be mindful. But let's continue to persist. Let's continue to push back against evil in our world, especially with children. Because Jesus said, if you were to cause, I'm paraphrasing, essentially, if you were to harm one of these little ones, little children in a way, he says it's better that a millstone be put around your neck and you be thrown in the sea. That's how serious God takes protecting children. So let's keep persistent. Let's keep praying. Let's keep protecting children. Let's keep teaching them who they are in God's eyes, what he's called them to be, and how they can live that out in our world. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.